Hello, everybody. Welcome to Find Your Shine. This is episode number 4, and I'm really excited today to connect to Debra Jones, who is such a beautiful person, such a beautiful healer, a beautiful woman, and someone that I really admire. I first met Debra about 3 years ago, I think it is now, and I had been called to go and work with her personally, like for my own healing sessions. And when I finally went, it was very evident that that was the place I was meant to be. Her property, for one thing, is just an absolute healing oasis. And as soon as I stepped foot on the grounds, it was like, it actually felt like coming home. And then when I met Debra, it all became clear because I literally felt like I had known her for years. It was like we were absolute family. And that peaceful, beautiful feeling just continued all throughout my session. So I went on to study with her and did my Moon Key initiations all through her, and just have, I just really have come to a place of pure admiration. So Debra, I'm so happy that you're here. And Debra is a Reiki Master and really specializing in anxiety and depression and stress. And I thought it would be such a beautiful time to connect with Debra right now because collectively we're all feeling it, and just kind of, see what she's got to say about different ways that we can navigate our emotions during this time. So welcome, Debra.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm really honored to be here today.
Yeah, me too. So why don't you, if you wouldn't mind just explaining, like, what does a Reiki practitioner do? What is Reiki?
It's an interesting answer to the question because it doesn't really matter what Reiki is and what it does. It matters how it makes you feel and how it affects you. And so I'll answer the question in those terms, is that it's a way for you to come back into balance and harmony with yourself. So that could be your physical self. It could be the mental self, what your thoughts are, yourself talking to yourself, what you say to yourself. It could be your emotional self, or it could be your spiritual self, or it could be aspects of all or some. And so Reiki doesn't pinpoint what it's working with. Reiki will go wherever it's needed. And so the task, if you will, of a Reiki practitioner is to allow what is meant to be without the ego getting in the way and saying we need to fix this or we need to do that. And so really the answer is what it is for the person receiving it. Mm-hmm. And so usually for my clients, we don't get into what it is and what I'm doing. It's the experience of it and how you're feeling while it's happening, or what happens and what changes do you feel either immediately afterwards or days afterwards. So it's the effect that it has on the person is the most important thing, not what Reiki actually is.
Mm-hmm. I think that's beautiful. And I can attest to that just from being in session with you and other Reiki, sessions I've had and offered, is, that feeling of just of like a true peacefulness that comes from it. And it's almost, I always feel like it's kind of just recalibrating what needs to be recalibrated within me, without my mind getting involved. It's just sort of like a recentering. So, yeah.
And it's different for everybody as well.
Yeah, exactly. Based on what, I guess, well, based on what they need, or what's happening within. What inspired you to get into healing work, or what inspired that for you?
Well, I wasn't always aware that this was a path for me. And it was my own life experiences that opened that door. And so I experienced the need to go see a healer. when things weren't working very well in my life. And I was so amazed at the possibilities, what she was able to do that was not the usual go to the doctor, take a pill. Um, and it really made me curious, like what is this? What is this other world that I've never been exposed to before? And when I recognized that it helped me in a profound way that medicine could not, I knew I had to explore it. And so I was open to, you know, reading and going to holistic stores and discovering crystals, and you know, all of that world was an exciting world that it felt like had been missing, or I have been prevented from exploring it, and that maybe that's past life stuff, I don't know. But I noticed that once I was exploring it, I realized this is what's real. The rest of it's an illusion. This is what's real for me. And so I discovered feng shui, actually, because I was an interior designer working with the energies in people's homes. And I realized that, you know, you could make a home beautiful, but it doesn't necessarily mean the person's life is going to be beautiful in that home, because there are people with different energies in the home. And that's when I realized that we can manipulate energy to make it suit us better. Right. And so I learned how to do feng shui, which is changing the energy within that home. And then it kind of snowballed from there. Yeah. So then I discovered Reiki and realized that it's the person that's the most important thing, not the environment. The environment comes second. Right. So that was an important realization for me.
Yeah, beautiful. How everything comes from within first, right?
Right. And if that is not in harmony, nothing's in harmony. Mm-hmm. It'll be like a Band-Aid. It'll look like it's in harmony. It can look beautiful, but it doesn't mean the energy in it is beautiful. Mm-hmm. Right? It's something deeper, something that you can't see.
Oh, I love that. I absolutely love that. That's just so integral to realize, because it also like leads me to thinking about, you know, how we measure like external success, or, you know, like how we strive for these things to feel good about ourselves. But if we don't feel good about ourselves inside, all of those things that we're striving for are really just like, they end up kind of empty, you know? Yeah, that's so beautiful. And I mean, like, you're such a natural healer. It's almost funny to me to think that like it wasn't something that you just always worked at, because it's just so like, it's just such a natural thing. So there's definitely past life elements in there, I would say. Yeah.
That and becoming aware of yourself, mm-hmm. and allowing what's natural to come through.
Right.
So, you know, being brought up that life is a certain way and we have to do things a certain way and we have to achieve certain things, and you're on this one path. For me, I've always looked off the path. What's off this path? There's more than this, which society doesn't really support. You're supposed to be this particular way so everybody knows how to deal with you or how to work with you. There's no deviation, or that's how I perceived it I needed to be. But I always wanted to get off the path. Yeah. And so I was always, you know, looking underneath things and looking around things and different ways of doing things. And that's what allowed me to discover what was my true gift. Otherwise, I would never have been a healer.
Right.
And I think what a shame would that be, because I get so much out of healing, as do my clients. But it was that search for more, search for something hidden. That was the key to finding that. Right. So just because it's not in front of your nose doesn't mean it's not the direction to go.
Beautiful. Yeah. You were just willing to pay attention, you know?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And be willing to think outside of the box.
And to be comfortable with that, because that's not necessarily a comfortable place.
No, definitely not.
And then, not being afraid of what you might discover when you go searching.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And that you can build your courage towards. But little wins here and there and building on that, I think, is the key.
Yeah. The step-by-step process. I think that's beautiful. What do you see? I mean, like, as this is a broad question, but what do you think that, or is there a common thread of the clients that come to you? Like, you know, as far as what they are maybe seeking within, or what they're presenting with, does there seem to be some sort of common thread that you notice with people who are seeking, Reiki or like energy work?
A desire to know themselves better so that they can navigate their lives better.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would say. Um, Self-confidence, confidence in yourself,
Mm-hmm.
that's a big one. We all have some work to do there. And then opening yourself up to what is, and the acceptance. So self-acceptance, acceptance of a situation that you're in, acceptance of how others are. And so those would be the most common threads. And then really what I tend to help people with is to see different perspectives. So it's not the way you think it is. It's not what you're looking at. Because if that was the way to find your answers, you would have found it already.
Mm-hmm.
It's the other doors that you haven't opened yet that might hold the answers. And so we need a mirror of somebody to present some other ideas or some other thoughts, or what we're doing today, talking about our perspective that might help somebody else shift their perspective and find something else from it. So never stop searching
Mm-hmm.
for something that could help you, and then once you find it, you can stop searching for that, right?
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love that too, because I feel like, when we're in this modality of helping other people heal and discover more of themselves, as a practitioner, we're continuously doing the same work alongside, like as you're helping other people, you're continuously discovering more parts of yourself, that come online. And I think that that's such a beautiful representation of that healer archetype, that we're continuously growing and expanding alongside. And I
Mhm.
love that, like that. And I do believe this is really one of your, like, a really beautiful medicine of yours, is that, like, shifting your perspective. I think that's a really beautiful thing. And like, and you do it in such a gentle, beautiful way too, which is nice.
Thank you. Well, it needs to be a safe environment to be
Yeah.
able to explore these things.
Yeah.
And if the environment isn't safe, or it isn't perceived as safe, you're not going to go very far with it. And so what I find is the gentleness and the listening, more so than the doing and the speaking, is where the power is. And so my clients end up doing a lot of talking, but that is their healing. I kind of sit there like a mirror for them to speak and see what it is they're really thinking and feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And when they know that, then they know what to do with it. So, I might look like the healer that helps others, but it's not me.
Mm-hmm.
you know I play a part in it, and
Yeah.
an intrinsic part in it, but it's not me that's doing the healing, it's you.
Mm-hmm.
And when we realize that that's the case, then we can keep going with that, and we're empowered to make the changes that we need to make, not because somebody told us to or someone gave us the answer to it, but we found it from inside of ourselves, because now we see what it is we're dealing with. So
Right.
that's where the true medicine is.
Absolutely. And what a paradox to other therapies that people seek out, where it's, where their control is being given to another person, rather than realizing that the answers really do lie within. And yeah, we absolutely need support and assistance at times to uncover that. But, in that sense, it's like really handing somebody back their power, which is such a beautiful healing in itself. So yeah.
Yes, yeah, beautiful.
So, we're living in the midst of super unprecedented times that I don't know if we've ever really known in humanity. Well, I mean, maybe the last time there was a golden age or something, but I mean, these are really trying times. And I'm thinking, yesterday I was really spending a lot of time thinking about how we're all, being with inside literally our homes and being asked to isolate. And with that comes a lot of spending time with people that maybe we haven't spent a lot of time with, in close quarters, family members, spouses, children, parents, and and I believe that that's a really challenging aspect for people, because uh, we're all being really kind of forced to really getting to know ourselves, what presses our buttons, what we like, what we don't like. And so what I'm wondering is, like, if you were to be able to offer some sort of like little golden nugget, or like a little tip on, how to navigate emotions during this time, you know, what what would you want to sort of be able to share?
I think the most important thing is to realize that no matter where you are, no matter who you're with, you're always with yourself.
Mm,
And if you're not comfortable in yourself, you're not going to be comfortable with somebody else or in a particular situation. So those that are tearing their hair out, totally upset about this situation that we're all in, it doesn't need to be that way.
mhm,
It's showing you that there's something that's out of alignment with yourself. And so what I would suggest is to check in with yourself. And what I mean by that is maybe to go into what you might call meditation. If you are a meditator, that's a place that you understand what I'm talking about. But if you're not a meditator, meditation isn't, sitting on the mountain and clearing the head of thoughts necessarily. It's simply a matter of sit down in a comfortable chair, close your eyes, and just be in that moment and see what comes up, see what you feel, see what you think. Don't try to control it.
mhm,
And, after the monkey mind stops, then the real truth starts to come through. But if you don't sit there long enough, you never reach that point.
mhm,
And so it's really a matter of sitting in that still, silent space and waiting to see what comes up. And it might really surprise you of what it is you're actually upset about. What is it that actually is bothering you? And it might not be what it presents itself to be. But unless you actually go within and find out what's going on with you, you'll not discover that, and you'll butt heads with your partner or your kids or just the situation, the authorities, all of those things.
mhm,
It's really not necessary. You need to find some peace within yourself,
mhm,
and then that will show itself in your outside world. So really that outside discord is a mirror to the inside discord.
mhm.
And so if you want the outside to change, the inside needs to change.
Beautiful. It's an inside job.
It is
Yeah.
all the time.
Yes. And so, I'm listening to this and I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to like pay attention to my thoughts. And then, as maybe some of these thoughts or emotions come up, um, what would your suggestion be on how to, you know, be able to like transmute them, or, come to terms with them, make friends with them?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so, really, that's all about not judging
Mm,
them. The non judgment, that's the realm of the heart. So, if you can realize that you're feeling angry, or realize that you're frustrated, or realize it's because you're not able to do something you really, really want to do, can you just breathe into that and notice it without judgment? Anger isn't bad. That's just a label we've put on it. It's an emotion just like any other emotion. So
Mm-hmm.
allow yourself to feel that emotion like a wave.
Mm-hmm.
Feel that wave come in, feel it in your body, feel what it feels like, be with it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way to release it. Then it can be free to just float off again
Yeah.
and not be stuck. It's
Mm-hmm.
when things get stuck, when the energy is stuck, when the thoughts are stuck, that's when we have trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And so just without judgment, just notice, this is how I'm feeling right now. Maybe even write it down in your journal.
Mm-hmm.
Just be with it without judgment.
Yeah, I think that's beautiful.
Mhm.
That's such a beautiful gift to yourself of self-love, really, and self-acceptance, because totally, like, we've been taught that these negative emotions, shouldn't be expressed, or they're wrong. And, really all emotions are just a little guidance system for us to look at something else. So the more we push them away, the bigger they're going to get, which, I mean, I'm sure we've all been there, where we let things build until we become a human volcano to some
Mhm.
extent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've all been there.
Yeah.
Right.
Um,
But go ahead.
no, you go ahead.
I was just going to say it's learning to love that aspect
Mhm.
without the judgment, without the condemnation, that it isn't bad to feel that way. It's simply an emotion that wants to come through. And
Mhm.
then just to be okay with it, and it will pass.
Yeah.
It's, killing it with kindness, killing it with love, right?
Mhm.
Mhm.
100%. Um, okay, I have just one more question for you. And I'm wondering, you know, do you have a daily practice that you do, or something that, really helps you stay grounded and centered in your day-to-day life?
Well, I wouldn't call it a daily practice. It's a daily intention
Mhm.
because it doesn't always happen. But that time sitting in the chair, allowing the thoughts to come through, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And just giving myself that time, I find that that's the time where the magic happens. So if I can give that gift to myself of starting my day in that state of mind of being open to receive rather than jumping on my to-do list right away.
Mhm.
And that's always a challenge for me because there's always lots on my to-do list. I put them there. But when I do give myself that time to just be with my thoughts, and sometimes I need to do a brain dump of all my thoughts first just to get them all out so that I can feel what's underneath it all. That's what I would that has worked for me, but it took me many years to actually accomplish that, and I'm not successful with it every day either, but my intention is there,
Mhm.
and I'm kind to myself if it doesn't work out as well.
Yeah, that's a beautiful, that's the key, right? Is that kindness, self-kindness,
Yeah.
to stop the inner war, the inner battle, for sure. Hmm.
The inner critic. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, one of my teachers calls it the itty bitty shitty committee. And I love that. Like, yeah, that's a really good name for it. Um,
Yep.
so, okay, I do have one more quick thing I want to talk about. Is your book?
Yes.
Yeah. What it's called, The Successful Healer, Awakening
Oh,
the
is it really?
Successful Healer. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a 5 year in the making activity to put all of what I've known into usable form,
Yeah.
to help others find their power, take back their power, and know that they're powerful enough to heal whatever's going on in their life. So
Yeah.
that not in October. So I'm very excited about that.
Me too. Congratulations. It's such a
Mm.
beautiful offering.
Of which you're part of.
So I would love to, for if anybody who's listening wants to order the book, would they do that on your website?
They can go to Amazon. It's on Amazon all over the world. So
Yeah.
amazon.ca, amazon.com, and
Okay.
you can order it from there. Yeah.
Okay. So I'll make sure that I tag that in the comments below so that people can see that. And I'll also put a link to your website so that these folks can have like a good look at all the different offerings you have. And I know that as practitioners right now, we're a little bit limited in what we can offer due to our isolation and all of that. But is there anything right now that you have, like any online offerings or anything coming up that?
Absolutely. I've changed to working with Reiki in the distance capacity, but I'm finding it works really well as a phone call. So we talk about, I'm the mirror to your thoughts, and then we get into actually working with the energy of it. And so communicating as far as, you know, what are you feeling right now? And then I can share what I'm sensing. So it's working just as well as it would be in person right now. So that's still available.
That's beautiful. Okay, so I'll make sure that I have a link to all of that so that people can really sink into everything that you have to offer, because it really is beautiful. And once the world opens up again, then, you know, everything else will begin to flow again as well in the same ways, or same but different ways.
Better ways.
Better
Yeah.
ways. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So thank you. I'm really grateful for this time, and can't wait till I can see you again in person and come back to that beautiful land of yours and sit by your stream and soak it all in.
Yeah, no, it'll be a new world when we do that, but a new improved world is the way I see it. So
Yeah, me too. I'm holding on to that vision as well. It's beautiful. Thank you, Debra. Sending you
thank
lots of love.
Lovely. Thank you.